Have you ever had an idea so good, someone took it and became famous? That was my life. Until I realized, the day she fired me, she posted about her solitary vision. I realized she wasn't just stealing my company. She was stealing my voice, my story, my name. So I gave myself a new name, a new face, and a perfect plan to take back what was mine. My name is Cora Vance. This is the story of how my best friend stole my life's work, my dream, and my name. And it's the story of how I took it all back. It's about trust broken and a revenge that wasn't fast or loud, but quiet, patient, and complete. I grew up believing in simple rules. Work hard, be kind. Good things will come to you. My parents owned a small bookstore, and I learned from the stories on their shelves that honesty was its own reward. The smell of old paper and the quiet comfort of a well-told tale were my childhood. I thought the world was a place where effort and integrity were noticed, where friendship was a sacred bond. Then I met Serena Blake in college, and she taught me the real rule of the world. The rule is audacity. It's the nerve to take what you want and tell a new story so convincingly that everyone believes it, even you. We were opposites from the very first day. I was shy, a bookworm, happy with a small circle of friends and a weekend planned around the library. Serena was like walking sunshine. She had this bright, honey-colored blonde hair that seemed to catch every light and a laugh that could fill a lecture hall. She talked easily about a life I'd only read about. Family money, summers sailing in Europe, a penthouse view of a city I'd never visited. I was completely fascinated. She said my quiet, steady nature grounded her. She called me her anchor in the storm of college life. I called her my beautiful, terrifying adventure. Our friendship felt like finding the missing piece of a puzzle. I became her academic safety net. She'd have dazzling, half-formed ideas for philosophy papers at 2 in the morning, and I'd patiently help her shape them into arguments that earned her BS when she deserved Cs. She became my social guide, pulling me to parties where I'd stand by the snack table, smiling as she held a group of people spellbound with a story. I would listen for hours as she painted visions of becoming a lifestyle influencer, a curator of perfect taste. She, in turn, would grab my hands and tell me my own dream of opening a modern apothecary, blending my grandmother's herbal wisdom with clean, beautiful design. Was pure genius. "We'll do it together, Cora," she'd whisper, her eyes wide and sincere in the glow of our shared desk lamp. "Your brilliant brain, my fearless face, Blake and Vance. It has a ring, doesn't it?" It sounded less like a business plan and more like a fairy tale, and I believed in it with my whole heart. After graduation, we made the dream tangible. We found a loft with huge windows in a part of the city that was just waking up. The light was incredible. I used every penny of my grandmother's small, carefully saved inheritance to buy my starting supplies. Delicate glass bottles, blocks of pure beeswax, copper measuring cups, and shelves of essential oils that filled the space with the ghosts of forests and gardens. My corner of our shared home became a workshop of scent and texture. Serena's corner was a stage set for her Instagram channel, The Serena Style. But a quiet fear had started to shadow her. Her content, another perfect lipstick, another expensive handbag, was just noise in a crowded, noisy world. The sparkle in her eyes was becoming forced, a performance she was tired of giving. The moment that changed everything was an ordinary, rainy Tuesday in October. I had just opened the mail to find a single, cruel letter from the bank. My application for a small business loan to start my own little shop had been denied. The dream I'd cradled since I was a girl, helping my grandmother tie bundles of lavender to dry, felt like it was crumbling to ash in my hands. Heartbroken and seeking the only comfort I knew, I turned to my work table. I began making a new sleep balm. The calming scent of lavender from a small family farm in Washington and the gentle, apple-like smell of chamomile began to rise from the double boiler, slowly pushing back the gloom in the loft. Serena, always hunting for content, saw me and picked up her phone. "Just talk me through it, Cora," she said, framing me in her screen. "Just be authentic. My followers love this real, behind-the-scenes stuff." So I talked. At first, my voice was thick with disappointment. But as I warmed the oils, measuring with a steady hand born of practice, something shifted. My passion for the craft, my deep belief in what I was doing, swallowed the pain of rejection. I forgot the camera was on. I spoke not just about the steps, but about the meaning behind them. I talked about Marie, the lavender farmer who believed plants grew better if you sang to them. I explained the slow, 6-week solar infusion process, a lesson in patience that captured the sun's energy in a jar. This isn't just a product, I heard myself say, my voice dropping into a low, sure register. It's a quiet rebellion, a rebellion against a world that screams for everything to be fast, cheap, and disposable. It's a return to a slower, more honest way. It's about knowing the hands that grew what you're using and honoring the intention in every single step. A week later, Serena posted that video. She titled it The Alchemist Next Door, My Best Friend's Quiet Rebellion. The reaction wasn't just positive, it was a seismic shift. Her followers, numb from an endless scroll of polished, empty perfection, were starved for the substance they saw in my work-roughened hands and focused gaze. The comments exploded. Where can I buy this? Tell us more about the farm. This quiet rebellion is what I've been needing. Serena's online engagement, which had been fading, shot through the roof. She came to me, her phone buzzing nonstop, her face lit with a fierce, new excitement. Cora, this is it. This is the entire angle. The Serena style is reborn. It's now a brand for mindful, intentional living. You are the secret sauce. The genius, we are partners, full, equal partners. Her eyes shone with a fervor I mistook for shared destiny, for our mutual dream finally catching fire. And so, Blake and Vance began in spirit, in sweat, in shared exhaustion, though no legal paper would ever carry that hopeful name. I poured every waking hour into the newborn venture. I perfected each formula, children of my grandmother's notebook and my own endless experiments. I personally found every oil, every herb, every minimalist glass jar. I hand-poured the first 2,000 candles, my back perpetually aching. I wrote all the beautiful, knowledgeable copy for the website Serena commissioned. I became the ghostwriter for every social media post that explained why bergamot oil could lift a heavy heart or how frankincense had healed wounds for thousands of years. My knowledge, my labor, my very soul was in every salve, every tincture, every candle we sold. But the face on the label, the name on the website, Serena Apothecary, was solely, unquestionably hers. The business grew faster than we could have dreamed. Orders flooded in from all over the country. We hired a few part-time people to manage the shipping. My world shrank to the loft-turned factory, a universe of simmering pots and precise scales. Serena's world ballooned into a glittering new reality. Professional photo shoots, speaking spots at wellness conferences, meetings with buyers from giant department stores. A slow, chilling change came over our friendship. The easy, snorting laughter we'd shared over cheap wine was replaced by a polished, measured chuckle. Our late-night dream sessions became formal, scheduled business meetings. The beautiful dream we'd built together started to smell only of her expensive, exclusive perfume. The crack became a canyon during a meeting with investors from a big Silicon Valley firm. They offered millions to grow the company into an empire. For the meeting, I wore my one good dress, simple and black. Serena wore a designer suit that cost more than my parents' car. I presented the heart of the business. Our ethical sourcing, our partnerships with small farms, our promise of clean ingredients. Serena then presented the story. It was a masterful piece of fiction. It was a hero's journey of a stylish, discerning woman rediscovering simple, ancient rituals in her modern life. As she spoke, I waited. I waited for my name, for the mention of our partnership, of my grandmother's book. The words never came. In her story, she was utterly, inspirationally alone. After we finished, the lead investor, a man with cool, appraising eyes, nodded. "It's compelling, Miss Blake," he said. "You've built something remarkable from a deeply personal passion. This story of solo discovery, it's authentic. It sells." The air left the room. I looked at Serena. She didn't glance my way. She gave the investor a modest, triumphant smile. "Thank you. It has been a profoundly personal journey." In the taxi afterward, a thick, poisonous silence sat between us. Finally, I spoke, my voice thin and strained. "Serena, what was that? My grandmother's recipes? Our partnership? My quiet rebellion?" She sighed, a sound of deep irritation, as if I were a child failing to understand a simple game. "Cora, you have to be realistic. That's branding. My best friend and I is a cute story for a blog. For a brand worth millions, It's clutter. It confuses people. Consumers want one heroine, one person to root for. You're my partner. Of course you are. You'll always be taken care of. The money will reflect your work. Taken care of? The phrase was a punch to the chest. I wasn't her partner. I was her employee. A problem to be managed with a paycheck. The official end came not with a fight, but with a piece of paper. A month later, I was summoned to a law firm in a shiny downtown tower. Serena wasn't there. Her lawyer, a woman with a frosty smile, slid a document across a vast glass desk. It was a severance agreement. Serena Apothecary, LLC, a company I suddenly realized I had never legally been part of, was letting me go. Another document demanded my silence forever. A third offered me money to disappear. It was a bribe, plain and simple. I signed nothing. I walked out into a city that felt tilted on its axis. When I got back to our loft, my key scratched uselessly in a new, stubborn lock. My clothes and a few books were in sad boxes in the hallway. A note said all my professional things, my grandmother's recipe book, my journals, my equipment, were now company property. I was left with a single suitcase and my confused cat, Miso, meowing from his carrier. That night, numb, I opened Instagram. Serena had just posted a beautiful photo of her at our old work table, a shaft of light hitting a vial of oil. The caption read, "Sometimes, to stay true to your vision, you must find the courage to walk the path alone. A painful but necessary evolution. Grateful, onward." My quiet rebellion, my words, my vision. She had stolen the beautiful tapestry I'd woven and was now burning the last threads that led back to me. The audacity was stunning. It was also the most effective lesson I'd ever received. She had shown me the real rules. I had been a trusting, naive student, but I was a thorough one, and I never forgot a lesson. The next year was a gray fog of pain. I moved back into my childhood bedroom. The promised severance money never appeared. I took a job as a barista. My hands, which had once crafted healing balms, were now cracked from bleach and burning steam. Every day, I served coffee while Serena's face smiled from magazine covers, hailed as a visionary. My quiet rebellion had built her a castle, and I was locked outside. But in the quiet of my parents' basement, a new Cora was forged. Not from fire, but from ice. A slow, deliberate freezing. The grief and rage crystallized into a cold, sharp purpose. I understood that revenge would not be a dramatic explosion. That was her style, loud, flashy, temporary. Mine would be the opposite, a slow, meticulous recipe. The main ingredient was patience. The method was to become a ghost. I spent my meager tips on online courses. I learned about digital security, how to follow money, how social media algorithms really worked. I learned to disappear online and to create fake people who lived only in computer servers. I became a silent watcher. I lived in the comments of Serena's posts. I joined her most loyal fan groups. I listened to everything. I learned her secrets. I found the lavender farm, Willow Creek herbs. A few anonymous calls revealed Serena had slashed their payment so deeply the farmer, Marie, was about to lose her family's land. I found a factory in China. Paper trails showed that just months after firing me, Serena had switched our clean candle recipe to cheap, toxic wax. The quiet rebellion was a lucrative lie. I even found her personal life was a fake. There was no old Boston money. Her father was an accountant. Her whole dazzling story was stolen, just like my work. My plan wasn't to burn her company down. That would destroy what I had built. I wanted to move into her house. I wanted to become its foundation, the walls, the very air inside, and then ask her to leave. To do that, I needed to become a legend. I created Soren Vale. Soren was a mysterious business whisperer, a ghost who only helped dying brands find their soul. I built a sleek website with smart essays and a short list of impressive, but fake, success stories. Soren Vale became a myth people in the industry talked about in hushed tones. Every myth needs a believer. I chose David, Serena's stressed, overlooked CFO. His private emails to Serena, which I accessed through a clever digital trick, were full of panic about her wild spending. As Soren Vale, I sent him an anonymous, terrifyingly accurate report. It predicted Serena Apothecary would run out of cash in 8 months. David was scared. He was also in awe. He begged Serena to hire this oracle to save them. Serena, always chasing the next shiny validation, became obsessed with landing Soren Vale. After months of negotiation, Soren agreed to a single phone call. In a private booth, using a complex voice changer, I became Soren. For an hour, I dissected her brand. I praised its lost soul and criticized its hollow present. I quoted my own stolen words back to her. I heard her breath catch over the line. She was hooked. Soren Vale was hired for a huge fee with one condition: total control, with Serena kept at a distance. Now I was inside. As Soren, I began the work of taking back what was mine. My first order was about honesty. I demanded the company publicly list all its suppliers. I made them re-sign the contract with the lavender farm, paying Marie a fair, livable price. Serena screamed about lost profits on a conference call. Soren's response, sent through David, was a cold ultimatum: show integrity or I walk and tell the world why. She gave in. Next, I ordered the contract with the Chinese factory torn up. We would return to the original, clean materials, no matter the cost. Serena fought again. Soren didn't budge. The toxic candles were a betrayal of the brand's core promise. She signed the termination papers, furious. Then I asked for something personal. Soren wanted to create a Founder's Archive collection using the original, perfect formulas. To do it right, Soren needed to work with the original creator, me. Serena refused, calling me bitter and unstable. We argued through emails for a week. Finally, she agreed to send the original recipe notebooks to Soren for study. The day a courier brought a plain box to a storage unit I'd rented, my hands shook. Inside was my grandmother's worn, leather-bound book. Under it were my own journals, pages stained with oil and hope. I held them to my chest and cried for a long time. It was the first piece of my heart coming home. Now embedded in her company's computers, I set up two more things. I created an exclusive club for her best customers that asked for their personal stories and values. And I wrote a hidden piece of code for her website. This code took a tiny, invisible sliver of every single sale, 0.5%, and put it into a secret digital wallet I controlled. It wasn't stealing. It was a royalty. A quiet, steady reclaiming of what was always mine. For a year and a half, I lived two lives. By day, Cora the barista, living simply, saving the strange new money that appeared in my account. By night, Soren Vale, the ghost architect, making Serena Apothecary more successful by forcing it to be honest, the way I had always intended. The brand started winning awards for ethics. Serena was praised as a wise, evolved leader. The hypocrisy was a bitter pill, but it fed my resolve. The final step meant I had to meet her, not as Cora, but as someone new. I used some of the reclaimed money. I changed my appearance not to hide, but to command. I dyed my hair a sleek, striking silver blonde, and cut it sharply. I bought a wardrobe of simple, elegant clothes that spoke of authority, not fear. I practiced a new way of moving, of speaking, of holding a gaze that didn't flinch. The betrayed girl was gone. In her place was a woman of unshakable calm. I chose her biggest night. The 5-year anniversary gala for Serena Apothecary. It was a dazzling event at a famous museum. Serena wore a gown of liquid silver. She was the queen of the world. I watched a live stream from my quiet apartment. As she stepped up to the microphone to give her speech, I pressed a key on my laptop. All across the internet, the truth erupted at once. First, people saw the old video of me in our loft, talking about the quiet rebellion, split screen with a new video of Serena telling the same story as her own solo journey. Then they saw the proof. Documents showed the gutted payments to the lavender farm. Contracts revealed the toxic candle wax. Internal emails showed Serena writing, "The story is what they buy. The ingredients are just a cost." Then they saw my grandmother's handwritten recipe for calendula comfort salve, with my childish, "I love you, Grammy." In the margin, right next to Serena's official patent, where she claimed she invented it. Finally, they heard a recording. My voice, from years ago, clear and passionate, explaining the heart and soul of the brand. It played over a video of Serena on stage that very night, saying, "This beautiful empire was born from a solitary vision." The screen went black. White text appeared, "A solitary vision built on theft. The true author has returned." The internet exploded. On the live stream, I saw Serena's perfect smile vanish. I saw raw panic in her eyes as her team rushed the stage. Her speech crumbled into nonsense. She was led away, exposed and helpless. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. It was her. "Cora, what have you done?" Her voice was a ragged mix of fury and sheer terror. "I'll sue you into oblivion. I'll own your miserable life." "It's the truth," I said, my voice flat and calm. "Every document is real and with journalists right now. Marie, the farmer, is on the news. Your CFO, David, has resigned and given everything to the government. The story is over." A choked silence, then a horrified whisper. You are Soren." "I am taking back what you stole," I said. "Tomorrow, you will get an offer to sell me your company for next to nothing. You will sign it. You will resign. You will disappear from public life. If you fight me, I will send every piece of evidence, including the proof of your toxic candles and your completely fake personal history, to the FDA, the FTC, and the state attorney general. You will be charged with fraud. You could go to prison. Your choice is simple: vanish quietly or be destroyed completely." I heard her break then. Ugly, heaving sobs. "Why, Cora? For God's sake, why? We were like sisters." "No," I said, my voice final. "We were a thief and the owner. The owner is taking back the keys." I hung up. The silence in my room was absolute, and for the first time in years, it was a peaceful silence. She did what I said. She signed the papers. She released a vague statement about pursuing private interests. And she vanished. Now the company is called Vance Apothecary. It's in a bright, airy warehouse where plants grow in the sunlight. My grandmother's recipe book sits in a glass case in the lobby. The Lavender Farm, Willow Creek Herbs, is our partner, not just a supplier. Marie sits on our advisory board. My parents help run the community side of the business, their gentle kindness now the public heart of the brand. I don't give interviews. I don't need the spotlight. The products, made well and honestly again, speak for themselves. Our story is told simply, founded by Cora Vance on her grandmother's wisdom. Sometimes, a customer who was there from the very beginning comes into our shop. They look at me, at my silver hair and calm eyes, and a slow understanding dawns on their face. They don't mention the scandal. They might just smile and nod. Or they might say, very softly, "I always knew the real story had more heart. I'm glad you found your way home." I smile back. It's a real, easy smile from a heart that is finally, completely whole again. She stole my dream, my work, my friend, so I stole it all back. But the real victory wasn't in the taking. It was in the becoming. I learned to be strong, but my strength has a heart. It has honesty. The quiet rebellion is finally, completely mine, and its quietness is its greatest power. The story is over, and the right name is finally on the door.